Hello, I am at Bob Weaver Motorsports on this beautiful Saturday afternoon at the Ducati Demo Days event, and I'm going to be test riding the Ducati Scrambler. Now this bike is special because it's the same horsepower, torque as the FZ07, which I own, but just slightly heavier. So, anxious to see how it performs compared to the 07. Guess we'll find out, won't we? So 75 horsepower, about 50 foot-pounds of torque. Pretty close to the 07. Air-cooled though, not liquid-cooled. And already, first thing I'm noticing is the seating position is so much different. These handlebars are so high up. Pretty sure on the 07 they're like down over in this area, probably up even here. And I think we're going to be off. What the hell? I got to really rev this thing. A really jerky throttle response. Wow, I was not expecting that. Gotta say I'm a little surprised about that. But gotta get used to where I have to put it in the rev range to pull away from a stop. Or maybe I just gotta let the clutch out a hell of a lot more. Wow, that's really jerky. Man, initially, at least on my bike, my FZ07, the clutch, when you're pulling it in and it's all the way at the grips, oh, clutchless downshifting is nice. When it's all the way at the grips, when you let it out, I want to say halfway, it starts engaging a little bit even before halfway. But this, you got to really let it out almost all the way to the end before it starts engaging. That's why I'm revving it so high, because I'm thinking it's going to engage sooner, and I'm putting more throttle on thinking it's engaging, but it's not. Now, immediately this riding position, like I said, is way different. It's kind of strange, I'll say. I just rode my friend's DRZ 400 right before this event, and it's a lot like that, but it's just not as tall. But this riding position is really strange. I think we're gonna wait. Yeah, good. It's handlebar. I don't like how tall the handlebars are, honestly, but that's just me, I think. This, I mean, the center of gravity feels about the same. It's definitely a shorter bike, but these handlebars are just ridiculous. Clutch is smooth, which is good. Neutral's easy to find, which I rode the 821 before this. I could not find neutral for the life of me. And I also got a bunch of false neutrals on the 821, but that's in a different video. So we'll see how this is. This is more competitively priced to the FZ07. And it's right in the same middleweight category, too. To me, these are the most fun bikes. I think the front wheel just went up a little bit there. I don't know how I feel about it. It runs very nice. It's, other than that throttle, it maneuvers well. You just kind of lean and that's where it goes. It's nimble. The seating position's a little weird, but I mean, it's freaking cool looking. You don't really buy Ducatis to be comfortable anyway, because the seat's not really all that good. But that dash is kind of interesting. It's got that neat little wraparound tachometer, kind of retro, neo-retro, kind of cool. Yeah, I don't know. I like it, but I don't like it. If I bought this, I would definitely do some changes. First off, I'd either get the Enduro one, because this is just so much like a dirt bike, I would have to get the Urban Enduro. Or if I got one of these, I'd have to lower the handlebars to make it not so upright, because especially in the wind will pull you. And if you're perfectly upright, especially if you have a heavy backpack and that wind is hitting you, it's really not comfortable. And on the highway, I can't imagine this would be very comfortable with this riding position. You kind of want to be leaning forward a little bit when you're going on the highway, because when you have a heavy backpack, you lean forward to not make the weight of the backpack pull you back. But then you kind of make the weight push you forward. But then the wind counteracts that weight of the backpack pushing you forward, and you're at a really nice equilibrium right here. But on this, you're just up, and it's like, so heavy. And I definitely would change the bars out for something a little bit lower. Although some people probably love these upright dirt bike bars, especially the people who are in the Scrambler crowd. I mean, this is what you want. But me personally, if I bought this bike, that's what I would do. Now, I haven't really been able to test out the acceleration yet, because as you can see, I am right behind the guy in charge. So either I gotta wait for him to pull away a little bit, or I don't get to do it. But this isn't all that vibey. It's a little vibey, but it's not bad. It's tolerable. Right now we're at 52 miles an hour and 6 gear, right at 4,000 RPM. And especially with this bike, Suzuki SV650, the new 2017 one, the FZ07. Not entirely sure about the Duke 690. I've ridden one, I just was a while ago, so I can't remember where it likes to be. But all the other ones I mentioned before the Duke, they like to be at somewhere between 3,500 to 4,500 RPM. That's where they like to be. And this is cruising along very comfortably at pretty much 60 miles an hour at that. Now, I don't know if I'd want to take this on the highway every day, because with naked bikes, that upright riding position, you become a sail with the wind. Your chest just absorbs that wall of wind that's hitting you when you're going 60 miles an hour. With this, like I was saying with the bars, it's kind of even worse because you're even more upright, more of you is showing, and if you got a heavy backpack, you're being pulled back even more. So I don't know if this is a highway machine. Like if you got to commute every day on the highway, like I do, I go to, my college is 20 minutes away from me, and it's all highway. And similarly, now in the summer, I'm up at General Motors, which is about 40 minutes away from me, and it's 75% highway. And if you have that, I would not want to ride this thing at all. I have trouble sometimes with my FZ07 with the small windscreen that I put on it. But this definitely not. If you have a short 5-minute highway thing, fine. But as an everyday commuter on a highway, I would think definitely not, unless you do some major touring modifications to it. But then you start ruining the look, because you kind of have this thing partially for the look. Actually, if you're buying this thing, it's probably 90% for the look, because there aren't too many Scramblers out there with the exception of Triumph. And now Yamaha has the XSR 900, but they should bring in the XSR 700, because that would be a direct competitor to this. There's that late activating clutch I was talking about. Anyway, XSR 700. If they brought that to the States, that would be a direct competitor to this bike. It would just be a direct competitor. And I just think, honestly, if you put this style on the FZ07, I mean, no, you're not getting a Ducati, but I think you are getting a superior motorcycle in general. I mean, the Yamaha's liquid cooled, it's lighter, it's Japanese reliability, it's not as expensive to maintain, you get more power with less displacement. I don't know, I'm not saying this is a bad bike and nobody should ever buy it. It's got its own niche. If you want a Scrambler, if you want a Ducati, that's obviously the niche. But I mean, if I had to spend $8-9 grand on a bike, I don't think this would be it. I think I'd save $2 and go with the Yamaha. Or if you just need that Scrambler look, go with the XSR 700. Or that's not available in the States. Come on, Yamaha, bring it to the States. XSR 900. Okay, I'm getting the clutch down. Gearbox is pretty smooth. And there's a false neutral. Okay, so isn't that funny? Gearbox is pretty smooth and false neutral. So yeah, that's the problem I also had on the 821 is I don't know if this is a Ducati thing or what, but so far both of those bikes I've had false neutrals on. And let's see how many miles are on this thing. Can I even check that? Okay, about 3,000 miles were on both of those bikes. And I mean, I would think the gearbox should be broken in enough where it doesn't do that, unless it's just designed it a little improperly. But so far, both of the bikes I've ridden so far have done false neutrals. Now granted, the 821 did 3 of them in this little 20-minute test drive I did, and this one's only done 1 so far. But I mean, still, you're paying for a premium Italian motorcycle, and you You expect it to work. And I mean, I think in the 8,000 miles I've had my Yamaha, I've had 1 false neutral, not 3 in one ride. But we'll see if this has the same type of deal. Acceleration wise, it's a little bit more sluggish than the FZ07, as to be expected though, because it is a little heavier. But I mean, it's pretty similar. Okay, so right now 66 miles an hour at, looks like we're just approaching 5,000 RPM, and that's about what the FZ07 does. So highway wise, regardless of wind protection, just highway worthiness, these two are about the same. You're gonna be at about $5,000 if you're going 65. And now if you're out in Nevada or somewhere where the highway speeds are quicker than over here in Buffalo, New York, you're going to be going even higher in the rev range, and it might be a little uncomfortable. You might have a lot more vibrations than I'm experiencing, and I don't know, I guess you'd have to test at those speeds. But like I said, I would not really take this thing on the highway if I had to. If I had the choice, I would get something else for the highway if you're doing that every day more than 20 miles. So what do I like about it? I like the engine. I like the style. Style's cool. It's retro. It's nice. But for me, I think the negatives outweigh the positives. And there's another false neutral. So that's 2. And those false neutrals are really a pain in the ass. I don't like the handlebars. I don't like the... I'm not really going to say the seat, because the seat on the FZ07 sucks too. The seat is just... Seats are just normally mostly uncomfortable unless you get a touring bike. And you're not, like I said, you're not getting a Ducati for comfort. I don't know. I'm conflicted with this one. Would I pay $8,000 for it? No. Would I trade my FZ07 for this? Absolutely not. Because in my opinion, for $2,000 less, you get a heck of a lot more bike, but you don't get the Ducati name. I don't really know what else to say about this one. This is, I don't know. I want to like it, but I don't know if I do. I mean, if you're dead set on a sub 750cc Scrambler, I mean, I think this is your only option, because I'm pretty sure the Triumph is a 900cc, and the XSR is like an 850 or something. So if you're dead set on a sub 800 or even 7, yeah, acceleration's way less than the FZ07. But like I said, if you're looking for a sub 800cc Scrambler, I mean, this is pretty much what you got. If Yamaha brings the XSR 700 to the market though, and you're looking for a Scrambler, I would look into that. But it doesn't seem like it's coming to America, even though I bet you they'd sell a ton if they did. I don't know, I'm kind of disappointed in this one. Hey, but don't just take my opinion, go out and ride it for yourself. I'm not saying it's a bad bike, it's just not what I like. And that throttle is, again, I have this problem with the 821. My wrist doesn't really feel in control as I would with a direct throttle cable bike. This is that ride-by-wire, I believe, or maybe it isn't. Well, now I'm wondering. Regardless, I'll get my thoughts on both. If it is ride-by-wire, it's just concurrent with the Monster 821. My wrist does not feel in control of what I'm doing 100%. It is a little bit of a disconnect there. If it isn't ride-by-wire and it's a throttle cable, I have no freaking clue what's going on. I guess I'm just not comfortable with the way this throttle interacts with what the engine is doing. It just feels very jerky. I mean, I gotta say, I was expecting more from Ducati for these premium motorcycles. I was expecting more. And I'm a little disappointed. Does it look good? Yes. Does it do what it's supposed to? Yes. Do I wish it was a little better? Yes. Will some people agree with me that it should be better? Probably. Will some people say, no, it's perfect the way it is? No, definitely people say that. But I don't know. It's just I wanted to like it. I really did, but I think ultimately I don't. And I think it just all comes down to, if you want that power range for so much less, you can get so much more. I think that's really what it comes down to. For $2,000 less, you can get the FZ07 or even the SV650, which I've also ridden, and that's a great bike too. That's probably the closest to the 07 in terms of what it does and how it does things. And if you want the 90-degree V-twin, that SV650. And to me, it's a more refined bike. I mean, it's been around since 1999. Sure, it's been tweaked and things have been changed, but it's been around for 17, 18 years. It's more refined. It just feels better. And even though the FZ07 is newer, it still feels better. I mean, the handling is more dirt, but everything about this bike is more dirt bike-ish than the FZ07. It just feels like a dirt bike. And I think if you're into that, there's another false neutral. So that's three false neutrals, just like on the 821. I mean, maybe if you are a dual sport rider looking to get something else, this probably would actually be very good for you, because you would feel very at home on this bike. The seating position is dirt bike. It really is. But for me, and speaking from 40-mile commute a day, I would not want to commute on this. I would not want to. I would way prefer commuting on the FZ07. It's a little bit more of an aggressive riding position. You're a little bit more hunched forward. You can kind of battle that wind. It's just like trying to commute on a dirt bike versus a regular street bike. It's the same type of deal. But I would just prefer my FZ07 or an SV650 over this. Sorry, Ducati. But again, that's just me. Don't take my word for it. Go ride all of the bikes you're looking at yourself and see which one fits you the best. Because you're not going to know by watching videos. You're going to know by actually getting out and riding it. And this hand is falling asleep. Not a fan. Doesn't mean it's a bad bike. I'm just not a fan. My butt is hurting. This seat is like a 2x4. A lot like a dirt bike. May as well just... Well, they do. They have the Enduro. And that's, again, why I said I'd get the Enduro. Because this thing is basically a dirt bike. So, get the one that's like a dirt bike. I still don't know if I'd take this off-road, though. You'd have to get some skid plates or something, because your exhaust goes under the bike, which kind of, to me, is really stupid if they're going to say you can go off-road with this thing. That looks street legal. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't think I'd buy it. I'd get something more refined. Oh, my butt. Oh, my God. My butt. Oh, it hurts so much. Oh, it's painful. Well, all in all, it's not a bad bike. It's just not what I like. Go test drive it for yourself, see what you think, disagree with me. Do whatever you gotta do. But it's just not my cup of tea.